All right, Beau Beaulieu's in the house. How are you, man?
Wonderful. Good morning. Thank you all for having me.
No, I appreciate. I didn't even know you were coming in this morning.
Well,
I thought you were going to be on the phone.
I was in Baton Rouge. I did a little exercise this morning. I said, and I'm going to give a shout out to State Representative Emily Chenevert, who showed me where y'all station was.
Love it.
And so I was like, let me give them a little surprise visit and come in house.
Greatly appreciate
If we win Acadiana, I'd have brought you cracklings and boudin and all that. But we in BR, so I didn't get to bring it this morning.
See, when Moon brings his show over from Lafayette, we make sure he stops off at Best Stop before he comes in. So, yeah, we hit that up for sure. But no, greatly appreciate having you in. Are you in for the duration? Are you in through the session?
Whatever you need. Oh, well, I'm going to go back and forth. I've got to be in New Orleans today for a little bit. Got an event in Lafayette tonight, and then I'll be back in for the rest of the week.
Part-time job, right?
That's right.
Part-time job.
$16,750, I think, is what it adds up to me.
And the number of people that are going to complain about the per diem. My goodness. All right, Beau, let's start off with we got a session coming up starting on Thursday talking about we're going to push back election days. We're going to get into that in a little bit. I want to start off with how did we get here?
Yeah, so in my previous term, we had redistricting every 10 years. We have to we draw new maps, and we drew a new map for Congress. The result of that map was a 5 Republican, 1 Democrat, 1 minority map that we did. At that time, if y'all remember, it was a big deal. Then Governor John Bel Edwards vetoed that map, and we overrode the veto. And there was some back and forth with the governor at that time. Judge Shelly Dick here in Baton Rouge had ruled that our map was unconstitutional. Obviously, we disagreed with us. She ordered us to draw a new map. We objected to drawing the new map. It went to the Third Circuit. Third Circuit kicks it back to Judge Dick, and we are. There we go.
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect. So, and we found ourselves in a position where, and so pause at that point. Another big item that happens at this point is we get Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, which is obviously a big deal. Having him as Speaker, having Steve Scalise as the number 2 person in the House, it's pretty cool that we're hitting above our belt with those two. So we have a little bit more at stake, and there's a national interest now. Obviously, there's a state interest as well that we want our 2 folks to continue to shine. So that time also, and if you back up, then Attorney General Jeff Landry was by our side, saying, "Hey, hold the line on this 5-1 map. Hold the line on this 5-1 map." The things change though, and he becomes governor. Liz Murrill becomes attorney general, and they say, "Hey, listen, we are in a position now that it's back in Judge Dick's hands. She's already told us to draw a map one time. The legislature has had a couple of opportunities to draw a new map and refused, and they were worried that if we put it in her hands, that we lose all flexibility on our part, and then we end up fighting a map that she ends up drawing, and thought it was in our best political interest, our best legal interest, the state's best interest to draw a map that went along with her demands.
Kind of knowingly draw a bad map so that A, you don't get a worse map, and B, you hoping you get to have a re-go at it later.
Yeah, that's kind of the thought there.
The lesser of 2 evils.
The lesser of 2 evils, and so we drew that map, and none of us liked being in that position. We were using an analogy at the time, and I still feel like it. We had a political gun to our head, and we were backed into a corner, and we find ourselves now in the hands of the Supreme Court.
Well, you should have heard Moon and Governor Landry fighting about it yesterday, man.
Oh, I bet those 2 can go round and round.
We're going to have some audio coming up a little later on in the show but Jeff Governor Landry brought up a number of good points about how most of this battle was done before he was governor.
That's true.
And I think that's a big part of the conversation that we seem to forget. Once Shelly Dick got a hold of this thing, there was game, set, match.
Yeah, listen, I want everybody to understand, we have our governor, as in Governor Landry, has, I don't think it's any secret, he's been one of the most conservative proponents of conservative ideals in Louisiana since he took office, even in Congress.
Yeah.
He followed that with him as Attorney General, and if anybody thinks that he's going to turn hat and flip to a different card now as governor, you're sadly mistaken, but he's doing what he thinks is best for the state of Louisiana.
Oh, no, I completely agree. It's just you have 2 different chapters. You have AG Landry and you have Governor Landry. And we're all looking through the lens of Governor Landry when he had already fought the battle. Like I think that's where that's where the disconnect has been. that's where I know personally when we're looking at like there was a want, and I know this might be just like childish temper tantrum, but there was a want to tell Shelly Dick, go ahead, draw the map, draw an unconstitutional map. We're going to put this on you and not on us.
That look, in hindsight, that was not in hindsight, but that was an option at the time, and we have hindsight to look back now and say, hey, would that have been a better play? I don't know. So many things could have happened. She could have drawn that map. We could have filed suit on that map, and we could have lost immediately.
Right.
And we would not be in the situation we're in. Again, we're dealing with hindsight. I think we're in a wonderful position where we are right now with the Supreme Court. And look, don't forget, Attorney General Murrill was his Solicitor General while he was AG. So she's not new to this as well. She was involved with it from the beginning as well, and we feel confident in her hands and her team with what they're doing with the Supreme Court. I was fortunate to be able to be there and listen to the oral arguments last week in the Supreme Court, and I think we made some telling arguments, and I'm optimistic that we're gonna find ourselves in an okay seat.
2.5 hours.
It was long. They told us to be ready for an hour, and it was 2.5 hours. I was like, okay, I could eat breakfast this morning. Y'all could give me a heads up.
Like the dad before you get in the car for the road trip. If you got to go now because we ain't stopping.
That's right. And you weren't getting out of your seat. It was you didn't want to miss any of it.
We got State Representative Beau Beaullieu in with us. Interesting spectator sport, right?
That's right.
A different kind of spectator sport. Moves forward about as well as LSU's offense, but it's a different kind of. Let's move ahead to Thursday. What are we looking to get done here?
So where we are right now is we don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. Number one, I had an attorney friend tell me, and I'm not an attorney, just for everyone's knowledge, said if you want to make a fool of yourself, try and predict what a judge or a set of judges is going to tell you in a deliberation. So we're waiting for the Supreme Court to come in and give us their answer. We're trying to buy ourselves time. We feel that there's a lot of attorneys who feel that they're going to probably come back before Christmas and give us some kind of an answer. If they don't come back before Christmas, it's probably going to be June. Why they would come back mid-session, we're not sure, but we think it's either going to be real quick because not just us, but what's going on nationally with redistricting,
right?
Or it's going to probably be June. So this coming back in, we'd like to buy ourselves a little bit more time. We're going to look at pushing the dates back a month for the qualifying. Remember, for the first time, I want to say in 15 years, we have closed primaries in Louisiana to where Congress, your House members, your Senate members of the federal delegation, state Supreme Court, BESI, and PSC, all are going to run in closed primaries.
Right.
That is set to start in April
Mm-hmm.
at the same time as the municipal elections this spring. And so we're looking to move that back instead of an April or May to a May and June, just to buy us a little bit more time. Because we don't know. There's so many unknowns with what they're going to do. We just want to have the most flexibility as a legislature to be able to make some decisions.
A couple different points on this, and I get the we don't know part, and I know there are others will argue, well, if you don't know, why not wait? Well, on the one hand, if you get the desired outcome, you can then pivot. If you don't get the desired outcome, no harm, no foul.
That's exactly right.
Okay,
that's correct. And I think it puts the legislature in the best position to be able to make decisions with whatever they come back with.
One of the things that I've seen brought up, or I've brought up, is if we go to push back our closed primaries, we just adopted closed primaries.
We did.
And now we're going to manipulate when we have those closed primaries. It feels a little like we just made this bed and we already need to lie in it.
Yeah, there's something called the Purcell Doctrine, too, that comes into play here. And this is why we have to come into this special session. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you change an election too close to an election, you can have problems. So we feel that being proactive and letting any candidate know ahead of time, hey, we're pushing this back to May and June, you don't run into that foul. If we wait until, let's say, January to try and push it back, we run into a snag legally. So this is the best way to do it, we believe.
Does the pushing back of an election date change the qualifying date?
It would change the qualifying date, yes.
So it could potentially open up for more candidates who were either on the fence or maybe wanted to bow out?
Yeah, it does. I mean, no different than any other qualifying date. They'll have up until that time.
Mm-hmm.
But, yes, it's going to push that date back as well.
One of the reasons, and I talked with Representative Macon, who was in here singing your praises last week.
Okay, good. I was about to say something rude about him, but I'll sing his praises.
Oh, no, he was all about you last week. That's why I called. I was like, all right, I think I need to get Beau Beaullieu on now.
He's good. He's awesome.
So
he's one of my committee members, too.
Yes.
So He's good.
Well, and you're a chair of the committee.
Yes.
So, but I was asking him, I was like, one of the reasons we moved to closed primaries is because people have emotions and people get hurt. When people get beat in a primary, they don't necessarily support their own party in the aftermath. We've seen this a couple times in governor's races. Don't know that we've seen it in a Senate race yet. But we've seen it a couple times in governor's races where you'll lose the consensus. You'll lose that consensus building, and it comes back to bite you in the rear end. By shortening the time between primary and general election, are we running the risk of going back into that hurt feelings scenario?
No, I don't think. I mean, the general election wouldn't be until November, so you still have plenty of time. A lot of other states do it much later in the year. So we were doing it at this time, one, to address that exact concern that you're saying, to mend fences, let's say,
right,
between candidates. But we still would be out of there in June. That still should be plenty of time. And listen, politics is a contact sport, and we have to learn as a state, and I'll speak on the Republican side of things, as a Republican Party, to be able to get over that and get behind whoever it is going to be our candidate. If we're gonna want to operate in a closed primary system, we're gonna have to act like big boys and girls and play ball.
Yes, politics is a contact sport, and we are in a very Republican state. In fact, probably too Republican, because it's Republicans versus Republicans.
Right.
And somehow, if you vote 82% Republican, you're a rhino. I don't know how you're 82% anything and in name only. I don't get that, but that's the way it's described. So, we had a couple minutes left with Beau Beaullieu, State Representative Beau Beaullieu. Want to talk about if we push things back, if everything goes to plan. And by the way, is there more that would be possibly to be brought? I know I'm asking you way too soon. We won't know till things open up on Thursday. But pushing election date back and appropriation to fund a new election date, those would be the two big topics. What else would be on the table here?
If somebody can fit something in the call, they can drop any bill. Nothing that I'm aware of. So, from a strategy standpoint, this is all we're planning to do, is pushing the dates back. And I think that's what everybody's interest is. But look, and on the House side, you got 105 reps.
Yeah.
You got 105 different personalities and egos and objectives for their individual district. I'm sure we'll have other bills dropped, but at this point, I'm not aware of anything besides anything that would affect the push.
Well, and the reason I asked that, and I asked it of Representative McMakin as well, is what's the likelihood that we see somebody try to draw a contingency map?
It could happen. I'm not too confident that it's within the call that we have. Somebody could argue it, but it wouldn't be. It's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody do it, and somebody may do it just to make a point. But I'm not sure where it would get.
All right. Yeah. Well, because you're talking about a series of if-then statements trying to predict what the Supreme Court's going to do.
That's the whole point. And we discussed the contingency map till we were blue in the face. If they throw out our map, that's easy. Okay. If they throw out a map, we have a contingency map. But what if they don't throw out our map and they just alter Section 2 in all kind of different ways? It's hard to base a contingency on an unknown outcome of a bunch of judges. So I think you are going to have a tough time with that trigger language on what would allow you to use a contingency map at this point.
Last one before we get you out of here, and thank you again for stopping by this morning.
No, absolutely.
Let's walk through the scenario where everything goes to plan. 2 bills get proposed, 2 bill gets passed. You also suspend the rules so you can get it done in a couple days instead of over the course of weeks. Everything gets done. Supreme Court comes back in December, sets the scenario for us to draw a new map. Does that mean a January special session for a map?
It could, yes. It could. I'm not going to speak for the governor.
We have an early session next year, though, don't we?
We do. So it's a March session.
Yeah.
Beginning of March. I think March would be too late to draw a map. So if there's going to be a proposal for a new map, it'd have to come pretty quick.
Yeah, I would imagine a quick turnaround, so we could see 2026 start off with a special legislative session just to pump out a new map that would hopefully be a lot more geographically centered than what we came out. And I'm talking about congressional districts.
One of my kids said, why don't we just box it up, graphically to where it makes sense? And it's, you got a lot of things that go into those boxing it up and making it make sense geographically.
I understand. But it's like, it's people should be geographically centered more. I've got a lot more in common with the folks around here than in Shreveport, for sure. So, in the meanwhile, he's State Representative Beau Beaullieu. Thank you so much for a couple.
Thank you all for having me.
Update.
It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely.